So we have completed first two modules. First module was about search methods, search method in AI. Second module was about knowledge representation in AI. Okay, so AI part we have completed. Machine learning is a subset of AI. Okay, but we will read it as a separate subject, a continuation of AI, but it is actually a subset of AI. So today is the starting of module 3, where we have only 3 classes. Today is we will discuss about the overview of machine learning, and 2 more classes we will discuss about unsupervised learning, which is very small. So 3 classes we will complete this module. Okay. After that we will complete the 4th module before midterm. All 6 classes. Okay. So today's topic is what is machine learning. Many of you may not have, you might have heard about ML, but exactly you don't know what constitutes machine learning. So we'll have an overview of what is ML and what are the types of ML. Okay. So far we have completed 2 modules on artificial intelligence, right? So what is intelligence? We have seen that intelligence is the ability to solve problems either using first principles or using knowledge gained from experience. First principle means this is called 0 to 1. Okay. There is a book named 0 to 1. There it is mentioned by, I think, Peter Thiel, okay, the founder of PayPal. So there is a small book, 0 to 1. It says that there are 2 kinds of changes. Okay, one change is incremental, that you make small changes. The other kind of change is something which was not there, but suddenly you created a new kind of a music, a product. Okay, something was not there at all. So that's why it is called 0 to 1 change. So there you make innovation using the very first principles. Okay. The other kind of one is from experience you make incremental changes. Okay, that is how mostly we do the second one, but first one is also important. That, for example, when human beings discovered fire, so that can be considered to be using first principles. Okay. So AI is demonstrated when a task formerly performed by a human and thought of as requiring the ability to learn, reason and solve problems can be done by a machine. Okay, ability to learn, reason and solve problems can be done by a machine. So these 3 parts, which we generally consider to be part of human beings, if they can be considered, they can be done by a machine, then we call that AI, artificial intelligence. So what is AI? AI is the ability of the machines to seemingly think for themselves, where we have 2 approaches. One is the cognitive approach, seeks to understand how intelligent behavior arises. Okay, cognitive approach is one, how intelligent behavior arises, and engineering approach aims to construct intelligence machines. Okay, engineering approach means what is engineering? What is the difference between science and engineering? In engineering, we are more focused on building things iteratively. Right? Science means the principle behind something operating, that is science. But engineering, you just cannot say that you have an equation and you can build a machine, or maybe one motor generator. You cannot do that. You have to go for iterative building, and that is known as engineering approach. So relying on human programs only to provide knowledge, what will make that? Suppose we say that why AI, why machine should learn? We can program itself from the beginning, but there are some limitations, like this will make the evolution of machine intelligence slow, because it will totally depend on the person who is coding it and would not be adaptive to a changing world. That means suppose you build a machine, build a computer, and you give something that will based on the existing state of the art. Okay. Whereas if you incorporate machine learning in it, then it is not only the algorithm that you have provided, but the machine is learning by itself. Machines need the ability to explore the world and acquire the requisite knowledge they need for problem solving on their own. Okay, so they need to explore the world and acquire the requisite knowledge. So we say that the machines work on big data, lots of data to learn, just like human beings. So what is machine learning? What is the definition of machine learning? So an agent, when we say agent, generally we consider AI agent. An agent is learning if it improves its performance after making observations about the world. So learning can range from trivial, such as making a to-do list, to profound. For example, when Vyasa wrote Mahabharata, or when Einstein developed the principle of relativity. Okay. Okay, so these are the things that we say from first principles, right? We create something that completely changes the world. Okay, sometimes the creation overshadows the author. Okay, you hear about Bhagavad Gita, but you sometimes you tend to forget that it was created by human. Okay. So when the agent is a computer, we call it machine learning. So if this agent is a computer, okay, we call it machine learning. So a computer absorbs some data, builds a model based on the data, uses the model both as hypothesis and the software. Hypothesis means it's assumption. The model is the assumption of the computer about the world, and the software on which it is predicting the future. Okay. So why we want a machine to learn? Why not program it? I have already given you the answer. So if you program it, it may not be adaptive to changing circumstances. So designers cannot anticipate all possible future situations. It's not possible for a human designer. Sometimes designers do not have any idea regarding the solution. Okay, so designers may not have enough idea to build a solution, but you consider certain designers like periodic table by Mendeleev. Okay, so when Mendeleev created the periodic table, he kept so many cells blank by predicting that in future some element will be discovered, which will fit into that particular cell, and it happened. Okay, so these are the ingenuity of some men. Some human beings were so ingenious that they created such structures, okay, which they predicted. Okay, our constitution, you consider the Constitution of India. So it was created in 1947, but the constitution makers have made it so dynamic that it is now also serving our purpose, and maybe it will do so for a number of years into the future, because that is how it has been made. It's not a static document, it's a dynamic document. So that is also possible. The improvement of an agent program by machine learning depends on which component to be improved, what prior knowledge the agent has, and what data and feedback on the data is available. Now this PPT I have prepared by doing some research. So research means referring to several references. So anytime in future, this will be available always in my drive. Suppose you are going for the interview, you want a overview on ML, you can refer to this PPT. So I have summarized many important points here. Okay. So what is machine learning? The terms AI and ML are used interchangeably. Okay. Many a times, suppose you go home, your parents will ask, what is this AI ML you are talking about? Okay. So in that case, for them, what is AI? The same is ML, isn't it? For the outside world, AI and ML are the same thing. But ideally, ML is a subset of AI. So machine learning, write down this is a very important point. Machine learning is a subset of AI and focuses on the ability of the machines to receive a set of data and learn for themselves, changing algorithms as they learn more about the information being processed. Okay. So they change algorithms. They change algorithms based on their experience. That's why it is called machine learning. And in fact, that is what makes them so dangerous for the human beings. So we are actually creating an intelligence which is at a higher level than human intelligence. Okay, so definition of machine learning, you can write all this. So machine learning addresses the question of how to build computer programs that improve performance automatically through experience. Okay, so machine learning programs are actually computer programs that improve performance automatically through experience. definition. Okay, so there are several definitions we can define. This is also applicable to human beings, right? This is also applicable to human beings. A computer program is said to learn, or you can say a human being is said to learn, a student is said to learn from experience. We all learn from our experience with respect to some class of tasks. Okay, so our experience matters only for certain kinds of tasks for which there is a performance measure. Okay, that for which there is a performance. Some students are very good at scoring marks in the exam. Some are very good at applying it. Some are very good at creating experiments or designing experiments. Okay, if its performance at tasks as measured by P improves his experience, so we call any human being or a computer to learn if the performance improves with experience. So if you are not correcting yourself, okay, every time, then actually you are not being human, you are not being intelligent. Okay, we make mistakes and we have to learn from our mistakes. Okay, so this is from the IIT Guwahati slide I have written, taken this. So we have a learning element. You can think of as us, we. So we have a learning element, okay, and we have a performance element. For example, this can be your exam. This is your class and that is your exam. So without performance element, learning is not complete. So exams are integral part of our learning. You might have experienced. At the time of exam, you may think that I don't remember anything. What can I write in the exam? But suddenly when you go to the exam, when you see the question, the answer appears before yourself. Okay, you can write something. Okay, that is because exams are an integral part of learning. Okay, so that should be a performance element. So based on the performance element, based on your exam, you have some knowledge about your capability. Okay, that's why you learn further. Again, you make improvements in the performance. Now there is an external factor, which is who is called a critic, who gives you feedback. So the best way to succeed in life is to surround yourself with some people who will criticize yourself, right? Yeah. Okay, so somebody should criticize you. In that way, you can know your mistakes. Okay, and you can improve yourself. It's always good. They might be your parents, your siblings, okay, your spouses, or whoever. Okay, that should be someone who should criticize you. Okay, if you are always showered with praise every time that you are so great, so well, then you are going down the abyss. Okay, so the learning element generates several problems that you want to solve in your life, and you have certain learning goals. You have certain learning goals. Okay, and many a times our learning goals are implicit. We are actually not out. Maybe at your age, you are not exactly aware of what you are trying to search, where you want to grow. Okay, it may not be so clear, but subconsciously it is there in your mind. That's why you are sitting here and studying. Okay. So what is learning? Learning is autonomous acquisition of and integration of knowledge. Automatically. That's what human beings do. Okay. For example, when we say we teach, okay, there is no meaning of teaching. Okay, it is a well understood fact. So a person who is a good teacher, they know that he cannot teach. It is not possible. So if I go on repeating things, you won't learn. You have to construct knowledge in your mind yourself. Okay, you have to construct knowledge yourself. For example, suppose you get some gate coaching. Okay, gate coaching. Can you solve all the gate problems? No. Until you sit down, solve the problems on your own by referring some textbooks or solutions. Before that, you cannot learn, irrespective of how good the teacher is. Okay, because you have to construct the knowledge yourself. Okay, so it is a autonomous acquisition. Okay, teachers are just guides. They will show you the path. Okay, go in this direction, refer this PPT, in that direction you read. But you have to sit down, do some work, make some neural network connections in your mind, then only you will learn. And that is called construction of knowledge. Okay, you have to do that. Unless you do that, you cannot clear any exam. Okay. Okay. So what is the philosophy behind machine learning? Learning denotes changes in system that enable a system to do the same task more efficiently next time, isn't it? Learning is that. Or simply try waking up early in the morning. Say electrical machines you have covered. Say early 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning you wake up, start doing solving some gate problems, keep the reference book with you. Okay. And you will feel the creation of new neural connections in your brain. You will need a lot of water. I mean, the problem solve करते हो बहुत पानी दरकार है. पानी bottle solve हो सकता है because new neural connections are made in your brain when you learn something new, when you develop a new skill. Okay, that's why when you see social media, your mind is blocked because you don't learn anything new. Okay, your mind is completely blocked. Your mind is so blocked that after that, if you listen, you won't understand even simple things. Okay. Okay. The philosophy is to automate the creation of analytical models in order to enable algorithms to learn continuously with the available data. For machine learning, see, we are simply imitating human learning process in machines. Okay. So creation of analytical models. और से ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स मूवी नथला देखছো तो ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स कौन करला ऑटोबॉट्स ऑटोमेटिक रोबोटिक ऑर्गेनिजम्स इज इट देखियो कि तुमने देयर इज अ मूवी ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स कौन जानो कहथला ऑटोबॉट्स एंड डिसेप्टिकॉन्स ऑटोबॉट्स मन का फुल फॉर्म कोनला ऑटोनोमस रोबोटिक ऑर्गेनिजम्स ओके इट्स लाइक देयर इन देयर प्लैनेट the learning intelligent beings have been converted into robots, but they are actually living beings. Okay, they look like robots, but they are actually living beings. Okay, similar thing. Okay, so some kind of analytical model is created in them. Okay, the model may be predictive to make the predictions in the future, or descriptive to gain knowledge from the data. And surprisingly, our designer has made us in such a way, and over the so many millions years of evolution, we have made our mind in such a way that we do both the tasks. We predict, at the same time we learn. Okay, descriptive knowledge. Next, machine learning aims to build a model that is good and useful approximation to the data. Now here lies the difference between human beings and machines. Okay, machines only make approximations from the data, make some analytical models. But we as human beings, okay, we have something else. Okay, we have something else. जोटा कि हमारा or the world has something else. हमें कौन ना चला पूछते हैं ना Higgs boson, God particle, हल्ला हमारा उपनिषद को है कि ब्रह्म. So it's the same thing. There is something else in human beings. In fact, if you see the skeletal structure of human beings, you will find that it's like some antenna. Okay, हमर कौन थी ये जगह रे गोटे होल था छोटा बला रो जन्म होंदी एटा कोनी ब्रह्मरंध्र. Okay, I think English रे कौन थी sagittal, some word is there for that. Okay, that is how the life enters the body. Okay, but that is not applicable to machines. So far it is not applicable. Machines do not have life. Okay, they are simply, so machine learning agents are simply making approximations to the data. So they won't sleep in the class. Which one? Machine learning. Which one? Machines, they won't sleep in the class because they are not human. The fact that you feel sleepy in the class, it proves that you are human. Okay, we are different from machines. We are not only approximations of the data, but we have something else which is beyond data. Okay. The focus is on development of computer programs that can access data and use it to learn for themselves. Okay. Model is defined up to some parameters. Learning basically is the execution of a computer program to optimize the parameters of the model using the training data or experience. Here lies the difference between normal optimization or computer programming with machine learning. In computer programs, you define certain set of parameters to a function. Okay. Or a subroutine. You define the parameters from the very beginning. If you give some different parameter, it will show error. But in machine learning case, they create new parameter based on experience, and you make a provision for that. Okay. So forms of machine learning. First is supervised learning. The agent observes input-output pairs. It is almost similar to what we do in the class. Okay, supervised. I supervise you when you learn. learns the functions that map from input to output. Input can be camera image, output can be vehicle registration. ଏବେ जो होनी AI fine, AI camera fine. Okay. Now speed up करथु automatically it captures your registration number and gives you. It sometimes it makes errors, sometimes, but it has become quite accurate. The output like above is called a level. So here the level is vehicle registration number. That's a level. A person is not wearing helmet. So the AI camera can nowadays almost perfectly recognize if you are not wearing the helmet. It's not happening here. It is happening in almost big metros and towns. Okay. Even in Bhubaneswar, Cuttack also it is happening. Okay. Thus, the agent learns a function that when given a new image predicts an appropriate level. So the agent, machine learning mane kon, it is given millions and billions of images. From there it learns, and after that it can level it automatically. So that is known as supervised learning. Okay. Unsupervised learning. So there is no output. For example, after this graduating from here, you do some job for 3 years. Okay. So within those 3 years, you figure out for yourself what is the best career path for you, and accordingly you devise a plan how you will clear GATE exam or some other exam, civil services, whatever exam you want to clear. Okay, that will be unsupervised learning, because you are actually trying to make a pattern how to clear it based on your own strengths and weaknesses, which you are not yet aware of. Okay. Graduate mane kon? Graduate mane you have been simply passed through college education, 50% of which is focusing on building your character, okay, or personality. Okay. So you are not yet aware of doing that SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities and opportunities and threats. Okay. But after graduating from here, doing some job, you will do that. Okay. So at that time, you are actually doing unsupervised learning. Okay. So the agent learns patterns without any feedback. Okay. It won't be told how many patterns are there, how many types of situations are there. It won't be given any such data. Okay. The most common unsupervised task is clustering. For example, when shown lakhs of images, a computer vision system can identify a large cluster of similar images. Okay. And the third one is, the most common example given for reinforcement learning is cycling. Okay. So when you learn cycle, actually somebody is running behind you, who is pushing you. You learn cycle, then you fall down and you learn on your own. Hello. Learning a bike without helmet is not reinforcement learning. तो जानती हो, मोटर व्हीकल बिना हेलमेट रे चलेवाटा reinforcement learning नुहे. सेटा होची डेथ. मतलब पूर्ण थर जन्म नहीं कि पूर्ण मूलर स्टार्ट करियो गुरु. Reinforcement learning होची तब जतवाले बॉडी की बंचियो तब सिखियो. एटा होची साइक्लिंग. Simple cycling. That we do. छोटा पिला पढ़िया नहीं गोड़ खंडिया है वो पूर्ण सिखियो. Okay. So reinforcement learning means learning from rewards and punishments. Okay. So when you see there is a reward from something, then you learn it. Okay. Swimming. So you know that if you stop moving your limbs, you will drown. Okay. Which your body won't let you do that. Okay. Because the reward at that time for the body is to live. Okay. Punishment means you are getting in so much of water. So reinforcement learning is learning from rewards and punishments. It is up to the agent. Okay. It is up to the person or the agent to decide which of the action prior to the reinforcement were the most responsible for it. Okay. समस्तकर motivation अलग है. Class attend करिए भी समस्तर motivation अलग है. Like that. Alternate actions to aim towards more rewards in the future. Okay. So reinforcement learning is such that's why all these sports activities, they are generally reinforcement learning. Okay. Because slowly we are learning a guitar. That can also be a reinforcement learning, because if you learn to play some musical instrument and you end up playing some your favorite band or your favorite song, in that case you feel the reward within yourself and you are still more motivated. Okay. Next, these are blending across different learning. So 3 types. Machine learning is almost 3 types. One is supervised, the other one is unsupervised, the third one is reinforcement. Supervised means jone guide thiyo. Somebody is showing you what is right, what is wrong. Okay. Or what is the output that you need to reach. Okay. Suppose I tell you that, okay, your target is you secure 7.5 CGPA while graduating. Okay. That I will give you a target. So that will be supervised learning. Unsupervised learning means you will decide for yourself how much I should secure. Okay. Whereas reinforcement learning is it is all about rewards and punishment. How you feel. Suppose you feel happier by making a 10-kilometer run in the morning, then in that case you are actually doing reinforcement learning. Okay. So semi-supervised learning makes use of unlabeled data to augment labeled data. Discriminative learning and optimization formulation using labels. So it says that what we do is generally unsupervised learning is not used as such. Okay, it is the first step before we apply supervised learning. Okay, first we let the data decide for itself what is there inside the data, label it. Okay, then you give to the supervised learning algorithm. Active learning. Learner is allowed to choose data points and query the trainer to request targeted information. Okay. New formulations driven by practical applications. Now it is happening. Machine learning systems are increasingly taking the form of complex collection of software that run on large scale parallel and distributed computing parameters. Okay. Now se jo kohthili si Mission Impossible the last version jota kone na final reckoning ketla kohthla na final reckoning final course se okay तो जा भी हो तो सेत्र से देखिए ना entity house जो से entity agent growth हुआ it's a big data center isn't it it's a big data center so any ML or AI agent they require parallel and distributed computing parameters okay so for that you need lots of water okay lots of water lots of power all these things are required okay so if they do that okay okay next okay machine learning can be considered as a method of data analysis that automates analytical model building so someone from the last so ita move internet okay so konla amara the first is statistics is the main models okay statistical models tame sabro what is the simplest things mean variance mode okay median the basic statistical measures okay those are at the center of all the data analysis now where computer science comes into that it simply makes programs to do that okay now if you make the programs dynamic then you are as you say here the elephant becomes a dinosaur that means it becomes very powerful when you combine computer science with and we have a programming language called R सुनचो की python सुनचो R सुनचो R okay तमे केड़ा समस्या जानचो python तो हम जानचो तो पढ़ाओ but there is another programming language called R it's very old 20-30 years old okay it is the language of statistics okay there are already so many functions available for doing statistical work okay it's a very powerful software okay to do meaningful statistical analysis okay it's open source free open source you can install it in your system okay so this is the difference so as she told rightly so in statistics we use low dimensional data size is not much but here in machine learning we lump a lots of data because in statistics we are the one who are doing the analysis but in machine learning it is the computer who is doing the analysis lots of noise in the data in statistics okay that we need to separate manually noise not sufficient to subvert the structure of the data lots of noise will be there but the machine learning algorithm will simply throw it away there is not much structure in the data structure can be represented by a fairly simpler model so one of the major differences between statistics and machine learning is that statistics is working on some mathematical models okay, like a probability distribution we have a probability distribution so we have to fit the data to the probability distribution but not in machine learning okay then main problem is distinguishing true structure from the noise okay so we are distinguishing true structure from the noise but here finding a way to represent the structure that allows to be learned okay so we have in statistics a structure which is already available but in machine learning you just give it the structure, then it adds to that structure and further learns. Okay, so that is machine learning. But in other words, so what did you understand from here? Which jobs are the most what risky jobs? We will discuss that. Pause करके हमें कहया सबुठु भल अपॉर्चुनिटी कोटा रहियो सबुठु रिस्की कोटा हो based on this information that you have just got. Okay. Okay. So here, okay. Major part I took from here. ये जो first parts, initial parts, then I took from the IIT Guwahati course. Okay. Okay. So next two classes will be on clustering. मतलब माने unsupervised learning. Okay. Stop here.